Well, good evening. I believe we are live. Once you can hear me, once you come on stream, can you just give me a little hello or hi in the comments and let me know that you can hear me? Evening, Melanie. I am Melanie. Two Melanies now. Good stuff. Okay, so tonight, as promised, we've got some more questions and answers regarding anxiety, stress, depression, negative thoughts, and worry. Thank you for all your comments. For those of you who know, I've been stuck on the couch for the last couple of days with a bit of man flu. I'm starting to feel a little bit better, although the old throat is still quite sore. Managed to get off the couch for the first thing this morning to get the little into school. And the other good news tonight is that Melanie, my Melanie, has made the tea. Yes, she's burnt the tea already tonight. That's all finished and done with, and there shouldn't be any fire alarms or smoke alarms going off like we had last time. So the idea is, guys, thank you to all of you who've been sending me questions. Please keep them coming. You can either leave a comment below, go onto my profile and leave a question, or send me a PM, and I'll do my best to answer all of your questions the best that I can. It's much faster for me to do them through these lives than it is doing them individually. I can only get around so many questions a day, and we've had absolutely loads and loads. So please keep those coming in. I do love your questions, and it really helps. And thanks for all your kind comments on the videos we've done before. We now have a shiny new YouTube channel, which I shall give you the link for later on. And there's loads of videos on there. No, that's right. Melanie doesn't burn everything. It's very rare that she burns things. It just has to happen when I did a Facebook Live last time. Tea tonight was lovely. Thank you, Melanie. Okay, so let's crack on with some of these questions. Also, just before I do, if you know anybody who needs any help with anxiety or stress, depression, negative worry, and you think they would benefit from these videos, do tag them into the comments below, because that will alert them to what we're doing, and then they can learn. There's a lot of good free information here, and again, they can ask questions, and we find a lot of people doing that at the minute. So if you've got any friends that you think would benefit, tag them in the comments below, and let's start answering your questions. So the first one we got was, and this actually came from 3 people after one of the last ones, what is the free strategy session about? Okay, so just to clarify, I work privately with a number of clients each week. I don't have an awful lot of time because I can only deal with so many new clients per week. So one of the things we do to see if it's suitable for you and for me, and to make sure we're a good fit and that you're committed to actually making the changes to get rid of your anxiety, is that I run a free strategy session on the phone. It usually starts with just 15 minutes. And this is where we dive in. We look at your problems, your issues. I ask lots of questions. You can ask me any questions. And we just see if it's a good fit, to see if somebody's committed enough to do it, because I only like to work with people who really want to get on and do the homework in between the sessions and make sure it's right for them. So the strategy session, usually I can only do 2 or 3 a day. However, if you'd like to be considered for a free strategy session, again, just comment below strategy session, and we can arrange that and see if that's going to be something that helps you to do that. The strategy session is really good because it just means we give you a roadmap of where you want to go, even if we don't work together, whether we don't feel we're a good fit for you or the other way around. It helps you to know where to go and how to sort all that out. So it's a good little freebie anyway. Hello, loads more people joining us tonight. Say hello when you can hear me. And again, any comments, just leave them below. So questions, yes. The first one was the strategy session. Yes, we can do that. It helps. It helps us just to talk about. It's totally free. And if you'd like to be considered for that, leave a comment below that you'd like to be considered for a strategy session. Right. The other things that we want to look at, we've had lots of questions about unwanted behavior. This seems to be a big thing at the moment. I suppose we all have it at times. None of us are totally in control of what we do or how we think or what we say. And it can get us into trouble quite a lot. So Vishal asked, is that his anxiety made learning very, very difficult. He was struggling to keep a job down. It was quite often giving him brain fog, that the mind just wouldn't work. He was very poor at learning. And is there anything that hypnotherapy or anything can do to help all of this? And the answer is yes. Anxiety is quite interesting, and stress as well. When it starts to hit us, it really slows down how the brain processes information. It's as though there's a big fog in front of us, and we get kind of slowed down and it doesn't work. So one of the things you need to do is, let's say we look at, there's an awful lot of students have trouble when they're coming to their exams. They get really stressed about the whole situation. And when they get stressed, it gets an awful lot worse. I know, because I went through exactly that. I used to get really stressed before exams and did really badly. And then I remember there was one exam I'd forgotten about, and I'd gone to the pub and had a couple of drinks, and I did really, really well because I was relaxed. So one of the things we teach people to do is to get into that good positive state for helping us to learn better. There are accelerated states which NLP and hypnosis can teach us so that we become better. And there's two ways really of doing it. One is you want to think about something that makes you feel really good. So again, if you think back to a time, maybe it was a holiday where you really enjoyed yourself, you felt confident, relaxed, and everything else was going right for you. If you can then examine that and examine all the things you can see, you can feel, you can hear, and then discover whereabouts in your body that feeling sits, the colors that you can see, how it makes you feel. And then if you imagine it's a color in the center of your chest, just close your eyes and mentally spin that round and round. And what this does, it changes your physiology, because it brings in all these good feelings all together, and it really helps us to get in a much better state, not a better state, a better state. And once we can do that, we can change the mental state that we're in. The other one that's really good is self-hypnosis, and quite often when clients come to us, the first thing we do is we discover these good mental states. We then show them how to amplify them, as I've just talked about, and we put that onto a personalized audio track, which works really well for the individual. So just that track alone will then teach people how to get into self-hypnosis, to change the breathing, and just to feel better. And it's all about just getting into that lovely state. The other side of it as well is that if you're constantly having this problem, it might be worth looking at the foods that you are eating. A big part of what we do is we quite often get a food sensitivity test done for you as part of the programs that we run. And this is where we look at anything that might be causing you a problem. So we know a lot of people struggle with dairy and wheat and sugar. And if those things are causing a problem, this can cause brain fog. It can push your anxiety levels up as well. However, the test comes back and tells us if you've got candida and which innocent looking foods might be causing a problem. So I know for a fact, a friend of mine struggles with cucumber and lettuce. Very innocent looking foods, but if she eats them, she gets severe migraines and she just can't work. And little foods can do this. So sometimes we just have to remove those foods from the diet. And if we're not aware of them, it can cause problems just forever until we do that. Or sometimes there are things we can do to boost up the digestive system to get that working properly. And again, stress and anxiety can make this all worse, whereas the foods that we can't eat properly can also do it the other way around. So it's worth getting the food side checked of sensitivities, working on your mental state and doing what you can. And then if you're working with a good practitioner or a good therapist, they can usually access those really good states, those good mental states for you, show you how to practice them and do them better. And this can be really, really powerful, especially when people want to go and learn lots of things. There's quite a lot of books out there. I couldn't recommend any particular, but there's some out there that can teach you to speed read very quickly, to take in information much better, and just to help us stay calm and relaxed and focused. And that can make a big difference. Next question is Peter. Peter said, I regularly upset people around me. I irritate the people I work with and family. I latch onto people and then have silly behaviors. And I say stupid things. And I think all of us have done that ourselves from time to time. But then some of us will know people who do this quite severely. I remember when I was younger and I used to go to the pub every now and again, you'd occasionally get what Jasper Carrott used to call the nutter on the bus. You'd attract somebody who maybe wasn't trying to be weird, but came across as weird, and then people pull away from them, and those people lose their self-confidence, they get really clingy, and the whole lot goes in a vicious cycle. So again, first of all, the thing that we do there is we tell people just to get out and spend some time every day, some good self-care time, just relaxing on your own and feeling wonderful. Second thing I'd suggest is that we then work to visualize how you'd like to be instead. And a big part of what I do with hypnosis is we bring in this higher self, is we'll get you to sit there and relax in a nice state and just to imagine how you'd prefer to behave around other people, how you'd prefer to come across, how you'd like people to see you. And then we assume that state. We can almost get you to step into that higher self, to try it on like a suit of clothes, and then start moving and talking. And if you're visualizing how you'd like it to go, it's amazing how that can change. It is funny that when we visualize where we want to go and what we want to do, we can move towards it. If there is some borderline personality disorder there, and I've had a few clients have been diagnosed with that, and to be honest, I think it was a load of rubbish, is that, again, it's just realizing what you want out of the communication, how you want other people to react, how you want to be seen. And sometimes we just have to teach people some good communication skills, because a lot of people don't get them. If we have a hard time at school, or we get bullied, we get a bit clingy, we get a bit anxious. Especially lately, we've had a few clients who were not getting so well with a partner, and they've got a bit clingy, and that just makes things worse. So again, working in those sort of things. So again, learning some self-hypnosis skills always works. I think we'll teach some of those in the coming weeks. And just being aware of what you want to do, but look at that higher self. How would you like to be? And it's amazing what a difference that can make. Okay, the next question. Thank you to Peter for that one, by the way. So the next question is anger questions. Oh, this is a good one. I've had a few of these. Terry, thank you for yours. I get angry so easily, and I lose my temper. This hurts my family. It makes my kids cry. It gets me stressed up, and it's not doing any good. So the thing we would look at here is to try and recognize what is your trigger for getting angry. If you wake up in the morning and you're already angry, then we need to look at that. Something not quite right there. If it's a case that you get home from work and something's not right, so the tea's not on the table and you got angry, and then it can be something to do with perception. It could be that you've had a bad day at work and you explode, or it could be that you're getting wound up having arguments in your head, sort of future worry that something isn't right, or maybe somebody isn't doing the job that you expected them to do, so your expectations could be out of the way. So really with that is something you need to speak to somebody about, in that we need to look at what the trigger is, where that state is all the time, excuse me, whether that's to do with anxiety or stress, whether or not it could be food induced, if it's something that's going along. And then what I would do, I would work on, first of all, relaxation, just to get somebody back into that good mental state, again, visualizing how you'd want to be, and then just calming those triggers down and getting into a much better state. Anger is a natural reaction, and really we have to stop, just push ourselves back a little bit and say, what is this telling us? Why are we getting angry? Sometimes it's irrational and that there's no need to get angry. Sometimes it could be that we're thinking about things in the past. Quite often when there's breakup and divorce, people get angry over things that happened years ago, and it may be we need to eliminate the emotion from all of that. It could be a whole wide range of different issues. Thank you. I've just been brought a cup of tea, and this one's definitely not burnt. Thanks, Mel. So anger is quite a complex issue. It can come from lots of different sides. Self-help will help, but to sort it out long term, it's something really that we need to work on, and it's something that if we don't sort out can get a lot worse. It's one of those things that really affects people around you. So I would suggest you don't hang on with that. Also, when we get into these angry, anxious states, it's not good for the health system. We look at the mind and body as just being one system rather than lots of different ones. And with that, it's if one thing's causing a problem, it causes problems with the rest. We know that when people get angry, our immune system takes a hell of a dive, which is never good, because then it's not sorting out the problems it should do. Our digestive system works at a very small percentage of what it should do as well. We're not then getting the nutrients. And of course, if we're not getting the right nutrients, if our diet's not right, again, this can cause all sorts of problems. Another thing that can cause that as well is candida. Candida's got a bit of a problem, and that it totally changes how the mind works. It's as though there's a little possessed evil demon in the stomach there. So it's worth just getting that food intolerance thing checked again. And then also folic acid is one of the things to look at. If you're intolerant to folic acid, it can cause all these sort of swings and jumps. But the good news is that using the right program with the right person can really bring down those anxiety levels. And you can very easily choose how you feel and how your emotions are, even with those triggers coming in. But it is a part of finding somebody and working with them. And if that's something you want help with, of course, I'm always here to do that. Next question. How likely is therapy to release my anxiety? How effective can it be? This is a really good question. Anxiety is a funny thing. Most of the clients I get coming to see me now for anxiety, stress, and everything else have usually been to the doctor, tried some medication which either hasn't worked or is causing side effects that are too bad. So upset stomachs, diarrhea, mood swings. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. People are a bit concerned about the side effects that it can give, sort of palpitations and heart problems. A lot of them have been to CBT, and I do find about 30% of my clients have been to somebody else. I do get other clients recommending people come towards me. So it partly depends on the therapist. It depends on your situation, and it really varies from person to person. What I suggest is that you find a specialist. You know, there's loads of people out there. There are CBT practitioners, there are hypnotherapists, there's NLP practitioners, there's psychologists, lots and lots of different people out there that try to help with all sorts of things. But usually, as an example, a hypnotherapist will be a general practitioner. They will look and deal with quite a lot of different things. For me, I specialize in anxiety. I find it a very good, I really love it because I had it. I used to be really bad at it as a kid. And I like to just focus on that because every client I get, I learn something from. I'm always learning new techniques. And a specialist really works an awful lot better. It's the same as if somebody comes to me for stop smoking. If it's just stop smoking, it's something I don't usually deal with. But if it's somebody who's got anxiety, who's really tried and can't pack it in, that's when I'll come in with it. It's the same with food as well. I do a lot of food addiction or food work. And again, if there's anxiety and stress, that I'll do it. If it's just food or weight loss, I'll pass them on to somebody else. So I would suggest, first of all, find a specialist. It's really important. Somebody who really specializes in that area rather than a general practitioner. How effective it can be, well, this is a big thing. Now, for me, I would say that about 95% of the clients who come to see me say that within 6 months, they've totally got it sorted. The small percentage that it doesn't work for are the ones who aren't willing to get in and put the work in. So it's not a case of you coming to see me, sitting back in a chair and just being hypnotized and coming out of it feeling much better and not having any anxiety. It really will not work like that for most anxiety problems. If it's something really small, it might. However, if you've spent years of negative thinking, if your diet hasn't been so good, if you've constantly been looking for the negatives in life, you're going to need, first of all, the hypnotherapy, which will help with relaxation and helping the mind to start to change and having the right reasons to do that. But we also then put in some work as in mental positive exercises, helping you to look for the good things in life, the beautiful life. And those are simple. They were all around you. Those are nice and easy to do. We teach you some self-care. We look at your lifestyle. We look at your diet. And it's about really 15 to 20 minutes a day of putting some work in to make sure that you change your mind. And it's really the whole case of you've got your old, it's really weird this one, your hand goes up on the other side, you've got your old mental pattern here, which is the dominant one. And this just happens naturally and it's automatic and it goes on and on and on. But then after a while, the new pattern comes up, and the more that you work on it, the stronger that becomes and the bigger it becomes, and this becomes your dominant pattern. And that you know that whenever the old pattern comes back, whenever that anxiety or whatever it is pops up, you can stop it dead with the skills that we've got, bring in those better feelings, use your anchors and your triggers for the better things in life, and actually it becomes a benefit. To give you a good example on that was myself, when I had the old health food store, I'd be on the computer and people would just suddenly say to me, what are you getting annoyed about? And I wasn't annoyed at anything, but I used to type away so quickly that I'd lock up my neck and shoulders and my chiropractor used to go crazy over that. I got into that state of typing fast because I was busy. And I then eventually learned to just, when I felt that tension in my shoulders, again, that old scan and act routine, is that as soon as I felt that tension, I'd just stop, I would breathe, I'd get into a better posture. And every time I got tense, it was a chance to relax and come down. So if you're willing to put the work in, it'll work for you. If you're going to be lazy, it won't. And this is why we do a strategy session, and then I want to check how committed you are. It will take some changes. We may have to change your diet. You may have to change your lifestyle. We may have to put in some exercise. The difference is, though, that after a sort of short period of 30 to 90 days, you're going to feel so much better. It's unbelievable. And that's where you see those testimonials on my timeline, on our YouTube channel, and on our website, is that people who've gone in and put the work in really work. If there's a case that I think people aren't ready for it, there's not enough pain there, or they're not ready to move forward, I don't usually take them on. It's not worthwhile. So it's got to be up to you. It's a bit like stop smoking. If you want to stop smoking or drinking, you have to have a bloody good reason to do it. Life will always be better, but if that old behavior is still there, it won't work. So to answer the question, how effective is it for people with us who are willing to put the time in? It's almost 100% effective. I've not really had a client who didn't put the work in and didn't get the benefits. Some people take a little bit longer. Some people do it very quickly. I've had people who said, I can't get in the car, ring me up a couple of hours later after the session and say, hey, I've just driven up to Northumberland. I've had people who couldn't swallow with food anxiety saying, I've just been out for a meal. It can work very quickly for some things, but other things it can take longer. And for severe anxiety, the bigger problems, we usually say, let's get this sorted within 90 days, take it at a nice pace, and that feels so much better. So yes, it's usually effective. However, it's about having the specialist and having the people who do it right. Now, big question here. I've got a lady called Mary here who says, I stalk my ex-partner's Facebook page. I look on Facebook, I've been banned, I go onto other social media, I look at everything he's doing, I use fake profiles, and last week my daughter caught me snooping on my ex-partner's Facebook site. What should I do about this? How can I stop doing it? So first of all, I'm going to say, Mary, it's not reasonable behavior. It can actually be classed as stalking. It can be a criminal offense. If you're spending all your time focusing on somebody who's now gone, who's moved on, it's something you need to stop, especially if it's now hurting your daughter. Again, it's another pattern. The more that we do this, the worse it can get, and it needs to be stopped. ISI. So stalking people on social media, using fake accounts, spending time on things that aren't positive, first of all, aren't positive, they're not good for you, and that could lead to further problems. It really is. What I'd suggest is you need to sit and spend some time about where do you want to be in your life and focus on the future of how you want to go. Relationships come and go and people move on. And it really is important, Mary, that you just take a bit of time to get over whatever it is, let it go, and then start to move forward. In fact, this sort of behavior will stop you moving forward, which is a real pain. You need to sort of focus on where you want to be. So if it is a case that you want to say, right, I'm over that, just let it go, do whatever you have to do, go and see somebody, just get over that. But then also spend a bit of time saying, where do you want to be? Do you want a new partner? Do you want to enjoy life? And it really, Facebook's becoming a big problem for an awful lot of people, in that they get onto it and it gets addictive. And I think I'm going to cover some of these skills while we're doing it. So first of all, change that behavior, focus on where you want to be in life, let the stuff go from the past. If you can't, find somebody who'll help you with it. Facebook is becoming a major problem for an awful lot of people. Some people are getting a bit addicted to it. It's making them depressed. It's a good tool if you use it the right way, but some people can see it as a very negative one. So what I suggest is on your phone, switch off the notifications for Facebook. Maybe you set some time 3 or 4 times a day where you go onto it and you check for the things that you want. If there are people who are constantly putting negative things up, or there's pages or stuff that upset you, then what you want to do is come off those, unsubscribe from them. A good skill I heard the other day from a client was that she actually deleted Facebook off her phone, but looked at it on the tablet or the laptop at night when she went home, she'd have half an hour on it, catch up on what she needed to, share the photos, see what her family were doing. But she didn't constantly have that ding, ding, ding of all these updates coming on and spending hours on it. I've heard some shocking stories now that some people are spending 7 or 8 hours a day on Facebook. You know, they're coming in, they've got the telly on, but they're spending so much time, and then they're still on at 12 o'clock at night. That is not good for your health. A good thing to do is when you get up every morning is to look, I'd say, look at YouTube and find something positive, something inspiring, something like Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn, somebody who makes you laugh, like Robin Williams, whichever comedian really makes you laugh. For me, it's Jasper Carrot, all those old guys. Find something that makes you laugh and feel positive and inspired, and spend your time focusing on that. Because if you focus on the past, if you focus on bad health, if you focus on politics, if you focus on the negative news, that will drag you down. And if you have anxiety, depression problems, you need to be looking at something positive. So to sum that all up, God's sake, don't go stalking people on Facebook. It's not good for you. It's not good for your daughter. Use it as a positive tool. You might want to look at it and say, I'm going to make Facebook really positive and go and stick 10 positive quotes on per day, share some fun little videos, some cute pictures of cats and dogs if that floats your boat, and use it as a positive experience. You may want to go on and help other people. A big tip for anxiety sufferers, and I say this all the time, is don't spend your time focusing on anxiety support groups, unless it's a good group. There's so many groups that I'll constantly say, trigger warning, I feel this, I feel that, have I got cancer? If you just focus on that group when you've got anxiety and everybody else is going on about it, it's gonna make you feel so much worse. So I would say come off Facebook as much as you can. Use it in moderation. It is addictive. It's like a drug. At the end of the day, it reduces all those, releases all those serotonin levels in the mind, makes people feel better, but then you get addicted to it and watch it again and again. And really the things in life is we need to get off our backsides, get out, switch the telly off, go for a good walk, take the kids up the park, enjoy life. Don't get addicted to it. And for God's sake, don't use fake profiles and stalk other people's profiles, because if you get caught, it causes problems, and it could be sectioned, you could have all sorts of problems. So do look for some help to do with that. Use Facebook responsibly, and it's much better in life. So our next question is, okay, one last question is, what can I do if I get up in the morning and I feel absolutely awful? It's a good one. So if you were getting up in the morning and you feel awful, I would first of all get that checked out. If it's something that's happening from the minute you get up, go to your doctor, go and have some blood tests, get your vitamin levels checked, and see first of all if there's anything wrong there. If then after that you've still got problems, then we need to start working on your mindset, and that's where I would come in. I would get you to wake up and suddenly program your mind to think about something healthy and positive. And again, it's about examining those good feelings, bring up those colors, spin them around, sort your posture out. And I'd also say get out, go to work, get into some positive mental exercises, and just start to push yourself into that better state. It could be that you've done it for so long. Again, allergy intolerance tests, sensitivity tests may help with that. But again, it's working to do all of that. And again, a bit of self-hypnosis might help with that. But if you're waking up and it's really severe, the first port of call is go and speak to your GP and just check there's nothing wrong physically. It can be with a lot of people, we're finding diet's a big, big thing at the minute. So start eating all those positive foods. And probably tomorrow and the next day or two, I'll actually do a whole session about foods that can make anxiety and stress better and the ones that can make it worse. As a quick tip, alcohol's not a good one. It can really drag us down. Coffee, smoking can also cause problems. Artificial sweeteners are really bad. And things like lack of exercise and dehydration, just drink plenty of waters, can make things much, much worse. So if there's any more questions, if anybody's got any more questions, quickly post them up before I disappear off, because it's just coming up to 7 o'clock. Let me just check. It's easier to do it on the phone. Has anybody got any more questions? No, that looks about it. Good. Thank you so much for that. So I hope you've enjoyed that and got something out of it. A couple of things to be aware of. If you'd like to watch these back, we now have a YouTube channel, and I'll post a link below so you can go. There's lots of resources on there. Dancing is great. Certainly, dancing is a brilliant thing for making you feel better. One of the things we say with NLP to make yourself feel better is dance, sing, walk, be creative, do some arts, you know, do childlike things. People say, oh, I don't want to do it because, you know, I feel like a kid. Colouring in, for example, is a really good thing. Dancing, music, singing, karaoke. If it floats your boat, do it. It'll make you feel so much better. So before I go, check out our YouTube channel. We put all of these videos up there. And again, if you've got questions, put them in. Not my dancing. Yes, I mean, if you want to cheer yourself up, look at Melanie O'Dowd's profile. She's really good when she does that. It's nice that she films them, but it always makes me laugh. The other thing is, if you'd like to be considered for a free strategy session and you've not had one before, comment below and just say, strategy session, please. I'll then get in touch with you and we'll see if that's going to be suitable. And that's just to see if it's something we can help you with and if you're committed enough as well. And remember, if you know people, if you've got friends who suffer with any of these issues or just need a boost or cheering up, I want to see me do these silly things, please tag them in the comments so they can see these videos. I'll post the link to YouTube and I should be back for another live tomorrow. Have a great evening and I'll see you all soon. Take care.